The world has experienced a series of major disruptions in recent months that are set to have long-lasting economic consequences. From headline-grabbing issues like escalating tariffs and looming invasions, to geopolitical uncertainty in Eastern Europe, concerns over government stability, the semiconductor supply chain, and even questions about the USA's federal debt tiers, no shortage of pressing challenges. Yet, beyond these high-profile topics, more subtle but equally important shifts are underway, including changes in foreign aid, international investment patterns, and the global tech landscape. These shifts have rendered the world far less predictable than it once was. While some may call this a crisis, or others may say it's long overdue, for the BRICS alliance is an opportunity. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, collectively known as BRICS, have now welcomed new members including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia, and Indonesia, forming what is arguably the most serious alternative to the U.S.-centered global economy. Together they represent a massive share of the world's population, control significant natural resources, and engage in substantial global trade. By sheer numbers alone, it's puzzling why they haven't wielded more influence until now. With increased internal capabilities and a growing lineup of members who have been marginalized from existing international systems, BRICS is becoming a plausible, self-sustaining geopolitical force, independent of traditional Western control. This prospect excites some, alarms others, and intrigues many, but it's worth noting that the ambition isn't new. Since its official formation in 2009, the alliance has struggled to achieve much beyond a symbolic annual summit. However, things are changing. The group is expanding in both size and capability, with a renewed sense of purpose, and perhaps more crucially, a global environment that's less resistant to their rise. So, what might a global economy dominated by a fully functional BRICS alliance actually look like? How realistic is this scenario? And what obstacles could derail the group's aspirations? To explore this, let's first acknowledge the role of the BRICS summits and institutions like the New Development Bank, NDB, founded in 2014 as an alternative to the World Bank and the IMF. Progress has been slow but steady. The addition of Egypt, Ethiopia, and the UAE in recent years shows expansion, and Indonesia's inclusion adds further momentum. Argentina was also on the verge of joining until political shifts reversed that path. These developments raise eyebrows because BRICS countries are often perceived as the others, rivals to Western interests. Some members are led by authoritarian regimes, are engaged in aggressive conflicts, and have troubling human rights records. Nevertheless, the desire for an alternative to a system dominated by the U.S. isn't inherently nefarious. If Western nations had to rely on a Chinese-led infrastructure to conduct basic operations, they'd probably seek alternatives too. Even close allies are beginning to view U.S. foreign policy as less predictable, making BRICS a more attractive proposition than it once was. If successful, BRICS could create a new financial ecosystem with its own currency, independent from the U.S. dollar. This would allow its members to trade and finance projects without Western involvement. The idea resembles a decentralized version of the European Union, though there's a long way to go before such a vision becomes reality. Currently, BRICS lacks the institutional muscle of the EU. While the EU boasts a parliament, commission, court of justice, and council with real legislative and enforcement power, BRICS remains a loosely organized collective. Its new development bank is not a central bank, and its resolutions aren't binding. This lack of cohesion is a major obstacle. For BRICS to function effectively, it needs a credible system of governance. But that's unlikely when member states are reluctant to cede any national sovereignty. Internal discord is another challenge. China and India are industrial giants, but they hold fundamentally different geopolitical worldviews and have long-standing border disputes. Their competition for influence has affected even the new development bank, with both nations jockeying for project allocations. Similarly, differing investment philosophies, like China's Belt and Road Initiative versus India's Asia Growth Corridor, further reveal misalignments. Nonetheless, BRICS is making progress in creating a mutually beneficial trade network. Brazil, for instance, now supplies China with a quarter of its imported soybeans and corn, reducing reliance on U.S. agriculture. Yet full economic independence from the West is still a distant goal. Global commerce continues to rely heavily on Western intermediaries, especially for logistics and financing. One path forward could involve BRICS functioning less like a fortress and more like a contingency plan. A cooperative that allows its members to trade more freely with one another while still engaging with the rest of the world. This model would give them autonomy if sanctions or tariffs arise, but wouldn't require total isolation. However, Western nations, particularly the U.S., are unlikely to let BRICS grow unchecked. They could apply pressure by offering economic incentives or imposing punitive measures. For example, Brazil relies heavily on foreign direct investment, especially in manufacturing, telecommunications, and real estate. Losing that would be a significant blow. India, likewise, balances relations with both East and West, buying military equipment from both sides. These dependencies limit how far BRICS can realistically push the envelope. Yet these vulnerabilities may also explain why BRICS is accelerating its integration. Recent moves by the U.S., such as proposing 100% tariffs on countries adopting non-dollar trade systems, underscore the urgency for some nations to hedge their bets. Still, forming a united BRICS bloc isn't just about resisting Western influence. It requires aligning vastly different interests, resolving geopolitical tensions, and building strong institutions. Take Ethiopia and Egypt, for example. Both recently joined BRICS, but remain locked in conflict over the Nile River's Renaissance Dam, with Egypt issuing military threats. Even among founding members, tensions persist. China's dominance within the group is also a sticking point. Russia, due to sanctions and war, has essentially thrown in its lot with China. But India is a different story, emerging rapidly, yet still decays behind China. It wants to compete, not play second fiddle. In short, BRICS is growing, but unity remains elusive. Countries join for different reasons and expect different outcomes. Without stronger internal cohesion and a shared vision, BRICS may remain more of a strategic insurance policy than a true alternative to the Western-led world order. Understanding each nation's individual motivations and BRICS expectations for its members is key. Annual summits and photo ops are easy. Real collaboration, that's the hard part. For a deeper dive into the internal dynamics and competing interests of the BRICS nations, check out our full breakdown on our sister channel, Context Matters. Thanks for watching.